I'm here today with Alicia Washington. Amazing. She is so amazing. She wrote a chapter on branding and rebranding throughout your career. And oh my gosh, Alicia, when I read your chapter, I was like, how did she know? Like I went through something similar to that, and only after reading your chapter, I'm like, wait, that's what happened. And
Yeah.
I had that light bulb moment, and I'm like, wow, Alicia had it down pat.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely learned by going through it myself and not realizing what was happening.
Right? So I know and I'm trying not to give away trying. It's going to be very difficult. Trying not to give away much of what is in the chapter. But let me step back a bit and let me ask Alicia. Alicia, tell us a little bit about what you do and what's your job about. So,
Yeah.
others can find out. Let's
Yeah,
start there.
sure. So I recently made a career change in June of 2021. So
Wow.
prior to that, I spent most of my career in maintenance and reliability,
Mhm.
working in a petrochemical company.
Mm.
And so in that role, I did everything from maintenance engineering to reliability engineering. I was a maintenance group leader for a while where I had, multiple technicians who reported to me, and was in charge of, just the day-to-day implementation of maintenance. Um, I did a little stint as an operational excellence leader, which was
Mm.
totally different, operational excellence and learning. And then my most recent job that I transitioned into, I am actually working in our mergers and acquisitions
Mm.
group. I work on due diligence for different projects, different assets that we're looking to divest,
Mm.
acquire, form joint ventures, et cetera. And so it is definitely a lot different from my years of maintenance and reliability experience. Although I will say what I have learned in being in this role is that being in M&R really set me up for success
Oh
because
yeah.
if you don't understand, everything that's in a plant and how work gets done in a plant, you will definitely struggle on the M&A side of
Oh
things
yes.
as well. Yeah, because things just won't click for you. So so
Uh-huh.
so that's essentially what I do, right? It's kind of a top secret role. So
Ooh,
of course I can't ever talk about the projects that I'm working on, but essentially I work in mergers and acquisitions.
that's good.
Yeah, as a senior project manager, putting together due diligence for the different transactions we want to make.
Oh, that and I love that the fact that you have the background in maintenance and reliability because a lot of times some people get into that role and they're like, hmm, they're talking about a pump. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've never seen one before in
What
my
is
life.
that? Yeah.
What is there inlet? Is there outlet? What does that mean?
Definitely. Well, and I can tell you too, kind of having that maintenance brain, right? Particularly if we're looking at acquiring something, there's a set
Oh,
of questions that I'm asking because
oh,
I know what a nightmare that's going to be
yes.
for some maintenance group, right? If we
Oh
don't ask these
my.
questions up front and make sure that we're getting,
Yes.
the records and the details. So yeah, it's come in handy. I couldn't make the connection at one point. I knew I wanted to do something different. I knew I wanted
Mhm.
to, branch out. But it was hard to make the connection. But once I got into the role, I mean, things are
Yeah.
crystal clear now.
Oh boy. And that's one of the great things about any career in STEM. You can move around a bit and having the background helps you so much. So much.
Absolutely.
Oh gosh. So let me ask the question. Why did you write this chapter for us, Alicia?
Yeah, so I will say my first love has always been writing, even as a little girl.
Mhm.
When I couldn't find the words to express how I was feeling, right, I'd write it down, whether it was in a
Ah,
diary or a journal or whatever. So writing has always been a passion. So when the
right.
opportunity came my way,
Yeah.
I kept thinking, what is the one thing that I want to share? What is that aha moment, or that thing like we just talked about that we didn't
Yes.
realize what was happening to us? And so this was it, right? Having a passion outside of work for writing, but having such a strong background in maintenance and reliability, but also having this inner desire to branch out and do something different, and
Mhm.
finding that, I had been branded
Yes.
one thing. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because it speaks to your capability, it speaks to,
Yes.
people's confidence in you. it's not a good thing when you're looking to branch out and do something different. And
Yeah.
so I spent years just trying to navigate, right? How do I get others to see these transferable skills that I've
Mhm.
acquired? How do I get people to see me outside of what I've been branded? And again, going through it, I didn't even realize what happened. I'm like, man, I've got the years of service. I've got this. Why do I keep getting
Yeah.
told, no, you'll give me all types of jobs in one space, but when I'm looking to do something that I'm passionate about, I continue to hit a brick wall. So
Hmm.
that's really why I wrote the chapter because I think it happens more often than not.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
I have lots of friends with STEM backgrounds who are doing nothing related to STEM now. We've talked about their journey and, their brick walls. Like
Hmm.
I said, I've experienced my own. And so I just really wanted to, kind of capture and to let people know, one, that it's normal to go through
Yes.
this, and it's normal to go through it and not understand what's happening. It's normal to go through it and to start having those imposter syndrome thoughts like, wow,
Hmm.
maybe I'm not, as good as I thought I was. It's normal for all of those things to seep in. But if we spin that and, take
Mm.
away the negative self-talk, what we'll see is, hey, I'm just really that good in this
Mm,
one thing.
yeah.
And they can't afford to lose me. And
Yes.
that's great, right? And that helps to dispel the negative self-talk. But now how do I overcome this barrier?
Mm.
And so that's really why I wrote the chapter, really just to explain my experiences, to normalize it, to give people hope, and to let folks know who are going through it, that
Hmm.
that there's a way to get out of it, but also to the leaders and managers and
Yes.
people in position who may read it, think about what you're doing, right?
Yes.
We've got to stop.
Definitely.
Yeah, we've got to stop spending so much time on the non-performers and
Uh-huh.
forgetting to reward our performers,
Oh,
right? So
yeah.
you've got to be thinking of that. I know that person is really good at this, and I know you can't afford to lose
Hmm.
that person, but listen to what they're telling you that they want, and help them to navigate that. So
Oh,
that was my
yeah.
read.
Oh, yeah. Because, like, I read the chapter and I'm like, yes, everybody used to be, that's the engineer girl. You need to call the engineer girl. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that sounds okay. But then what else? What else is there, you know? So,
Yeah, yeah. And we evolve as people, right? And there
yes.
is a time when I was hungry, to get that
Mm, yeah.
expert status, but
Yes.
life happens, right? And I talk about some of that in the chapter. As life changes, your focus changes, your
Yes.
passions change, what you want change, and we should be allowed as human beings to go out and explore
Yes.
that.
And change our titles too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what would you say, Alicia, to actually inspire somebody to get into a career that involves STEM?
Yeah, so I'm finding lately it's a little bit harder sell than it used to be, right? When I was growing up, STEM was how you make the money, right? STEM
Hmm.
was the guaranteed way. The world has changed so
Oh
much,
yeah.
and with all the great tech jobs and things coming up, which I still consider STEM-ish,
Yes, I think so
right?
too.
Yeah, but the emphasis on hardcore like engineering roles and
Hmm.
more hardcore STEM roles, it has shifted some. And
Hmm.
so what I would say is, and this is going to be a really bad analogy, but I watch a lot of HGTV in my spare time.
Yeah.
Uh, and there's one particular show called Good Bones that I love to watch, right? And so if you think about it, from that perspective, from the perspective of a house, right, that's
Hmm.
100 years old, right, and people
Oh.
are getting into bidding wars, right, just to be able to purchase
Mm.
this house and completely demolish it,
Wow.
and make it what they want it to be. I look at careers in STEM the same way, right? It is
Mm.
a good bones career.
Yeah.
You get that STEM degree, you get that experience in STEM. It doesn't matter what you want to be later. That foundation and those good bones are going to carry you so much further than, in my opinion, any other, career area. I know people who have gotten their engineering degrees who are now patent attorneys, who are
Mm.
now corporate attorneys, right? I know people who've gone through engineering who are now doing pharmaceutical sales, right? I know people who've done engineering who are now in architecture and real estate, and doing very, very well. It's just a very, very solid foundation that
Hmm.
says, one, right, I can be dedicated to something. I can do difficult things. I can do hard things. I can stay the course. I can understand complicated processes,
Oh, yeah.
complicated problems, right? And I can come up with solutions. And once you have that foundation, and you really decide what you want to be when you grow up, STEM is going to help elevate you to that next thing. It's not going to hinder you. I have another really good friend who does really, really well in oil and gas.
Mhm.
She chose to go the business route, and she tells me all the time, the one thing that she would have done differently is gone the STEM route, and still
Mm.
ended up where she is. But there's just something about having that background in
Yes.
STEM that she feels like would have helped her, you know, get to where she wanted to be a lot sooner. So that's what I would say to, inspire others. Yes, it can be difficult. Yes, it can be challenging. Yes, you may have to take, extra few classes or spend,
Yeah.
extra time, but the reward is so great. And just the good
Hmm.
bones of that STEM
Yeah.
education, they're going to just set a foundation for you to do whatever you want to do. If you want to completely tear down your STEM career and rebuild it, you can do that. If you want to keep certain elements of it, but just come in and, remodel the kitchen, bathroom, whatever, make it a little bit more flashy, fancy, you can do that. It's a really, really good foundation. And if you have a passion, if you have a desire, and you are in a position to be able to pursue that, I highly recommend it because it's going to take you so many places.
Oh, yeah, I could. Oh, Alicia, thank you so much for giving us those good bones. Oh my gosh. You did an amazing chapter. There are so many people I know when they read it, they'll be like, wait, that happened to me and I didn't realize it. I'm included. So thank you so much for taking the time to put the chapter together, for writing the chapter, and for sharing your story with us. The book is available, and be sure to read Alicia's chapter. It's very, very interesting. Thank you so much for your time, Alicia.
Thank you for the opportunity and for putting this amazing book together.
It was my pleasure.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye bye.